Hello everyone, so welcome to my channel. So before we dive into Redux Toolkit, let's first understand some of the things that why and when we should use Redux Toolkit for our state management in our React application. So why Redux Toolkit? The biggest question that comes to our mind as a React developer. Why Redux Toolkit? So the biggest advantage of Redux Toolkit is that it provides a centralized store. Okay, so because of that, it makes easy to access and manage state from anywhere in your application. Okay, this also eliminates prop drilling and ensures a more structured approach to state management. Okay, so while Redux Toolkit offers many more benefits also, but for now, just remember one thing, that it helps create a centralized store for managing state efficiently. Okay, now the next question that will arise is that when we should use Redux Toolkit. Okay, so when we should use Redux Toolkit. So choosing Redux Toolkits depends on the complexity of your application. Okay, so what type of task your application is doing. Okay, in that it totally depends. Okay, so for larger applications where state needs to be shared across multiple components and manage it efficiently, then Redux Toolkit is a great choice. However, for a simpler application, we can use Context API, okay, which is a more lightweight solution as it requires less setup and boilerplate code compared to Redux. So till now we have understand the basics of Redux Toolkit. So now let's implement it and make a simple application with that. Okay, so currently I have this application. Okay, in it we simply have a post list component, and in that I have added two inputs field. One is for the title and another is for the content. Okay, and a simple button to add our post in it. Okay, so currently I have managed all those things using our use state hook. Okay, also you can see that this application is working fine now. Okay, and on adding post, on clicking on add post, you can see here getting in our console log, that is nothing but the object of key value pairs of title and content. Okay, now you can also see here that this Redux is currently not available for now because we have didn't write any code for Redux till now. That is why we are not having the access of Redux part. Okay, so now let's implement that. So see, I would highly recommend you all to go through this documentation, the Redux Toolkit documentation, because in your initial days using this only you will be able to understand all the things, all the flow of the Redux Toolkit, how it basically works. Okay, so now let's create our application. So first thing first, we need to install our packages, that is redux.js/toolkit and React Redux. Okay, once it is installed, then you can be able to see that in your JSON 5. Okay, your dependency will be created. Now, create a folder in src folder named store, and inside that simply add index.js file. And this index.js file will have the global state of the application. Okay, so global state means in any of the component you can able to access this store. So let's create now. So we have one method called configure store. Okay, so let's import it first. Okay, so configure store, we can import it using our Redux Toolkit. Do that, and then this configure store will take an object. Okay, and that object will have the reducer, and that is nothing but the root reducer. So inside that reducer, you will be adding all the reducers that you will be making afterwards. Okay. So simply now what we need to do is we need to export that store so that we can access that store. Now let's create one slice folder inside our store folder. Okay. And inside that slice folder, let's create postslice.js. So we need to create our slice for this. So now you will be asking that what is slice? Okay. So this is a new term. What is slice basically? So we are actually writing our reducer function. Okay. So all the reducer function, action creators, and everything we will be writing in slice. Okay. So here we are having create slice thing. Okay. This create slice will take an object, and inside that object we will be having name. Name will be let's suppose I'm giving post. Okay. So and then we will have the initial state, and then we will have the reducers. So inside the reducers, we will be adding all the actions that we want to perform. Okay, there are some actions that we need to perform, like adding post, then deleting the post. So those actions we will be writing in our reducers. Okay, so let's first do one thing. Let's give the initial state, initialize our initial state first. Okay, so these two states I have made currently. So these two states are there. So what is that state? First is ID will be 1, and then title will be the first post, and the content will be subscribe to Techtation. Okay, you have to subscribe it. Okay, so now the our initial state is done. I have made the initial state. Now let's create our reducers, means our actions. Okay, so first action what we will be making is add post. So let's create that add post function. Will have two things. Okay, you need to remember that: state and action. So it will return the state, the updated state. Okay, currently I'm simply console logging that state and action. Okay, and now let's export all those things. So first let's export our action, that is add post. Okay, and we will have equals post slice dot actions. You need to remember that this will be the post slice, means the name of the slice dot actions, because this add post is our actions. Okay, and then export default or post slice dot reducer. Sir, you need to check this, not reducers, reducer. Okay, so that part you need to remember, and then simply add uh, that reducer inside our store. Okay, so let's add this post slice. So I have added that post slice and simply import that post slice from post slice. Okay, so that I have done. Now, the main part, we have to go to our main folder where we have this app. Okay, so inside that main folder, what we need to do is that we need to wrap our app folder inside the provider so that other component can access this store. Okay, so let's import provider from our React Redux that we have installed, and the store from our uh, that store. Okay, so just import all those things. Okay, so now you can see here that our store is created, means our Redux. You can see in DevTools that in Redux we have all those initial values that I have uh, initialized at the time of creating slice. Okay, so you can see those things are displaying now, action state and all those things. Okay, now it's time to interact with the Redux store. So currently we are not able to do it. See, I am clicking this add post, but there is no action triggered. So the question, how will you do that? So for this, we have a use dispatch hook, which basically helps you to dispatch the actions which we write in our reducers. Remember it, that add post action that we have write before. So let's go to our post list component and import this use dispatch from React Redux. Now simply invoke it and hold it in const. Let's call it dispatch. Okay. Now on add post handler, use this dispatch to call the add post method and pass the payload, which is nothing but post, this post containing title and content in it. Once this dispatch will trigger, it goes to the reducer function where we have added all the actions. Okay, so let's go to the post slice.js file, and in add post, let's return a new state using that payload. So I'm simply taking const as new post where id equals our current state dot posts dot length plus 1. I'm simply incrementing our length with plus 1. Okay, and title will be action dot payload dot title, and same for the content as well. Okay. So now what we will be doing is that now we will push that new post to posts and return a new updated state. Now let's see that our action is triggering or not. So you can see it triggered. Also, we get the updated state with ID of 3. Now, one more thing. Since we have added a new post successfully into our posts array, but suppose we also want this to display in our UI, that what are the posts we have added till now. So for that, we have another hook, that is our use selector hook. Okay, so here we'll take const post data equals use selector, and this will give you the state. Okay, the state dot post slice. Here the post slice is nothing but the reducer which we have added in our root reducer. Okay, then dot posts where all of our post data is stored. Okay, so let's add console here to see the post data. So here you can see it is working fine now. See, we are getting the console of post data which we extracted from Redux store. Now to get the post data in our UI, do one thing. After this form, inside this div, let's map the post data which we have extracted from our Redux store using use selector. Okay, so give a key here, that post.id. Now I will be going little fast to make it shorter because I'm adding some tailwind CSS so that the UI looks good. Okay, so in H3, let's put the title, and in paragraph content. Okay, and add one button as well for deleting the post. Now on click of this handle delete post function, let's pass this post.id. Okay, so that we can pass this get deleted id in dispatch method as payload for filtering the updated state. But before that, let's create our new action in post slice, that is delete post, and simply update the posts using filter method where val.id is not double equals to action.payload. Means we are filtering all the data except the deleted id, and add this delete post action in export. Okay, now also one more thing I wanted to tell, that this return state is not mandatory to add. Okay, for explaining purpose, I am using this, but if you don't add this return state, then also it will work because by default it returns the updated state only. Now let's test our app. So in title, I will give third post, and in content, some text, and then I will click add post. So see this post slash add post action was triggered. Okay. And this ID 3 is added to our post data. And also we are able to see in the UI. Okay. And now let's test the delete button. But let me see. I think I forgot to add handle delete post. Okay, yes. Here simply use the dispatch to call the delete post. Okay, delete post action and pass the get deleted ID as payload. Okay, so now I think everything is done. Let test once again. So I have added the third ID. Okay, and on clicking delete post, it's got deleted. Yeah, now it's working fine. So also we are able to see here which are the actions that are called on clicking those buttons. Now, one more important thing I wanted to share. So please note this, that in your root reducer means in configure store, you can assign this post slice into some key. Okay, suppose I am giving here P. So now if we test it, then we will be seeing this blank page because our app crashes. And why? Because of our post list component. Okay. So remember, whenever you change this, you are supposed to change in the use selector part also. Here, this post slice will change to P as well. Okay, then it will work absolutely fine. See, it is working correctly now. So, now let's try to summarize how this Redux working basically. Okay, with this app only. Okay, so first the user will interact with the UI. Suppose user clicked on add post. Okay, so here then this dispatch will get triggered. Okay, then it goes to the store where we have added our root reducer. Then from here it will call the post slice, and then this action add post will got triggered and return us the updated state. And then once again it goes to the store, and then the re-render happens and we get the uh, UI part. So this is the whole process of Redux Toolkit.